on there shortly.
Right. Yes, now it is showing up. Ah, and I can hear myself. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we actually are live. Yeah.
Okay.
So, oh, there we go. Right. So, guys, the stream is going to start in about 15 minutes or so. Um, we're having a slightly earlier than normal start, which is why I've put this up now to give people a bit of warning because apparently the notifications weren't coming out too well. Hi, Math Cubes.
Hello.
First, as usual, my friend. Math Cubes is my pal.
Yes,
He does my checking for me.
I am familiar with Mr. Math Cubes.
Of
It's lovely
course you
to see your
are.
name again.
Of course you're familiar with him. He's a
God.
great guy.
And no worries about going early because I never stop talking, so I have tons to talk about with you.
That's great. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy that. Sean Taylor, hi. So just to be clear, Sean, we're going to be going on in about yeah, getting on for 10 minutes. We're going to start at 13:30 Pacific, 16:30 West Coast, 21:30 UK, 22:30 here in Europe. That's the plan. So Kerosive and I have just spent nearly an hour chatting anyway, so we've done the stream. We could just play it back. What we've
Right?
Sean, yeah, it's a very light-hearted chat. Is the best way to describe it. What my plan of these interviews is to find someone who's willing to talk to me and have a good talk with them about themselves, about what they've done. It's very light-hearted. There's nothing heavy about it. Don't try and get into anything adversarial or anything like that. And try and get interesting people to talk to. And I think Captain Kerosive is a nice, interesting person to talk to. So should be okay.
Should be.
Should be okay.
Though I do enjoy some juicy gossip. I mean, if I can come up with any, I'll be sure to share it with the chat. Gotta drop that tea.
If you know any, yeah, you
Gotta
got it.
sip that tea. YouTube drama, right?
If there's any YouTube drama going around, anything you know that's happening, spill the beans.
Anything I know, probably everybody else already does too.
You'd be surprised. I was quite shocked at some of the times I've put videos out that I thought, well, everybody knows this already, and then um, suddenly people are coming forward and say, "Oh, this is brilliant! Thanks for telling us." I thought, well, is this 3 months old information? No,
They're behind the gun.
yeah, no, Sean. This is a one-to-one chat. Myself and Captain Corrosive, plus people in chat. If you want to ask a question, just ask, and I'll ask it for you. We're not trying to be controversial. We're just trying to have a chat. It's worked before. This is like the fourth one I've done in the series. The other ones have been quite okay. It's not like Discord drama. No, it's not going to be like that where people can jump in and shout at each other and stuff. No,
Oh,
I've
I
watched some
must
of
have
those.
missed a stream like that. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. There's a few of those going on just now. I saw Peachy Rider doing one last night, which was quite interesting. But usually, what happens is they get one baddie and four goodies, and all the goodies gang up on the baddie and shout at each other.
Right.
Yeah.
hmm I do love a good debate, but
Hey, the Bronx in the Bronx. That's a great name. So, about 10 minutes we'll start properly. This is just to let people catch up because um, the notifications don't always go out instantly.
also I was a bit of an airhead and put that it was going to be at 1 p.m. my time anyway, an
And it
hour early.
and it was
So,
supposed to be 2 p.m. Yeah, so I think
yeah. Mm.
Captain Corrosive had a time change in between.
I was having a blonde moment. They do happen.
I have blonde moments, and I'm white-haired now.
Don't we all? Yes.
I I
But yeah,
I
this
I
has been
did
good.
things. I do stupid things like write numbers down wrong and stuff like that, and that's when Math Cubes helps me. Yeah, we can talk about doxing, Sean. Um, I haven't been doxed yet. I'm sure I will be at one point. But
Yeah, it seems to be a trend all across a lot of different communities, whether it's YouTube or Twitter or this or that. When people get upset with another person, they try to take their information and put it out there. But
I think we could
I
say
don't,
we've sort of officially started now, just because there's a few people
might as
around, aren't
well.
there? How many's here? Uh, Not
Looks
that
like
many.
eight,
8,
eight of
yeah.
you.
Come on, guys. 9. There's another
No,
one.
it'll roll in.
It'll
It'll
roll
roll
in.
in.
Yeah, that was the
But yeah,
whole point of going early. Sorry.
I really don't get the point of the whole doxing thing. I mean, it really doesn't accomplish much, and I mean, I, I don't know. It seems silly to me. It seems pointless and silly. But I suppose a bit of that does go on in every community. Though I have to say, I think the scam bait community, out of more of the others I've experienced, tend to have a little bit more of an honor code because of what we do, and a lot of people tend to frown upon that sort of activity. So I don't think it's really a big problem in the scam bait community.
Yeah, I think it's equally a problem anywhere. I mean, you get the person who has a grudge and they just want to out somebody for something, and
Indeed. I
who's
mean, I bet.
I'm just reading this lies from Rakist News. Nightmare on Scam Street. Real name is Candy Moore, and I'm a tranny porn star that lives in Las Vegas. Yeah, that was one of my alter egos,
And that's why we're friends.
and that's why we're friends. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Corrosive did my hair and makeup for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Vegas, baby, all the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're officially started now. Few people will come in. So evening, Nick. So yeah, normally there's more people around, but it is early. We've got to remember that because my normal start time is like either 11 or midnight European time. So we're quite a
No
bit early now.
worries. I would be here if it was just us two. We haven't chatted in so long, and I'm just so happy to be here and to hear your voice live and in person.
It has ages, isn't it? I mean,
I think it's been a year,
it must be
over a year.
easily a year. Yeah, I think it's probably more like 18 months. I think it was like March or something. A year ago in March when I last did anything to do with scam baiting, and then I got interested. I just started watching a few videos again, and I got into this First Amendment auditing stuff, and I realised how many scammers there were in that. So I thought, oh,
Yes.
I found a new batch of scammers that didn't really exist before.
I've been enjoying the turn of your content there in that angle because it is something that people should consider because scamming isn't just the call centers or this or that. There's a lot of different types of cons and scams that go on out there, and it's
Well, there
important
is.
to try to keep an eye on it all.
Yeah, I mean, don't want to say that I'm like the scam police or anything like that, but clearly not. But I recognise because of the work I did in scam baiting, I recognised a lot of the traits of scammers that people might not realise immediately, which is I was onto Josh Abrams a month before I pushed anything out on YouTube about him, and I was trying to get other people interested, and I was being laughed at. I was saying, look, I recognise all these traits. He's a scammer. The traits are classic scammer traits, and people say, no, he's all right. He's a nice guy, you know. and and then all of a sudden, everything came out about him. So
Yeah, there's certain red flags, right? And I suppose after being doing this for so long, you would recognize those much easier than others.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed scam baiting. I like the technical side of it. You like the keeping
The
them busy
social,
and social
yeah, the
side of it.
social engineering there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's just put it as I like messing with them.
yeah, messing with their melons. Yeah,
I like to toy with them a bit.
it's a good thing to do, isn't it? You can't beat a good
Well,
toy.
it's fun for me and it accomplishes things from time to time, so that's good.
Yeah. You've done some really, really nice videos. When
Well, thank you.
I've my first, I think I started watching your videos when you did your first videos. I think that's how long I've known you. So your first
Yeah.
videos were the long-term love scam, weren't they? The the one that
Yes.
took months to go.
My dear Glenn Gaynor, yes, indeed. I'd been doing scam baiting things for a few years prior, but I'd never actually gone on YouTube and made any content. And it was just that one was so good that I was like, I have to do something with all this material that I have. And I decided, what the heck, why not make a video? And it wasn't my best work ever. I mean, the audio is great and the story is fantastic, but sometimes I go back and watch it and I just kind of cringe and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah, but for a start, it was amazing. But the thing is, you kept the suspense going from one video to the next, and that's what I loved about those. You actually looked forward to the next video, thinking, "Come on, get another video out. I want to hear what he said now." And these guys are just so persuasive, aren't they?
They truly are. It was a roller coaster. I had never really done the romance scamming before. Haven't done one since just because it was so involved and exhausting sometimes. They do get very, very pushy. And I mean, you're talking about spending hours on your phone with these people, texting and back and forth. And I know we discussed it earlier, but there's times where you get almost caught up in it and you almost feel a little pressured to like respond to these people. And clearly you're not actually in some kind of relationship with them. You have your life going on around you and things, and stopping.
Oh, no, you've dropped your mic.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's
I
it.
think I had a pushing through.
Yeah,
um so yeah, it can be very just like it does put the pressure on you, even though you don't notice it, to kind of engage with them constantly. So you do have to kind of take a step back and go, wait a minute, all right, I'm in control here. And you have to like really make sure you control the narrative. And that can take a lot of energy, especially coming up with the stories and things to see
yeah.
what you can get away with them too.
But you conducted that whole scam bait on by text, didn't you? Pretty
I
much.
did. I wasn't familiar too much with phone apps and things like that for scam baiting. I'd always done it previously just on a regular phone or from my computer or whatnot. So I use text now for that whole thing, which now I have a different app I use. I actually pay for a service that I'm really happy with. But yeah, so text now. That's all I used.
Yeah, Text Now. It's quite a good app for anybody else who's listening. Steve, we are actually starting. By the way, we've started, um, and that's the whole point of an interview is
The
you
interview is
listening
what
to
we're
people
talking.
talk. Now, if you want to ask a question, seriously, Steve, if you want to ask a question, I'm more than happy because chat's there. Ask a question. I'll ask Captain Corrosive, or she'll see it and she'll answer. You know, it's not just me and Captain Corrosive, but we're the only ones going to be talking. Sorry. Um, yeah, so I was quite impressed by the way you kept that going. Like you say, you had to be the one in control, didn't you? Because they're the ones who really want to be in control, but you've got to make them feel that they are. But at the same time, you've got to be the one that's pulling the strings.
There's definitely a balance there. Yeah. If you're too pushy, then they tend to catch on. Or if you go a little too far, though, with this fellow, like I was saying earlier when we were chatting before the stream, there was a few times I was certain that the craziness I was sending him, like there was no way he was going to continue after that. I figured he would catch on, like this is over after this, but I had to keep trying to push that envelope a little bit,
Yeah,
just because
let's
of my
just have a quick
nature. But
look. Let's just have a quick look at one because let's see, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I haven't got one handy. Let me just get to your videos. I'll just play a quick bit of one,
sure.
um, if that's okay, so people can see what we are talking about. This is Scammer Love Story Part 1. Oh, it's a bit quiet. Sorry, everybody. Let's see if I can. I should have thought of that earlier. Sorry, guys, I can't get the audio to work on that terribly well. Um, Never mind. You still there, Corrosive?
Yep, I'm
Okay,
here.
okay,
I,
that's
I
good.
just muted my mic in case something was playing.
Yeah, I was trying to play this video, but anyway. So anyway, people can
Hello,
look.
Karen.
I've put links on the page so anybody can go and have a look. Um, yeah, that that was true. We were talking about that just now, Sean. I don't think he actually climbed the tree, but
No.
he had to carve your name in it, didn't he?
Yes, yes. Towards the end there, after a lot of other silliness, such as basically I was telling him I had killed a friend of mine slowly in order to take her money,
You
but he
poisoned
didn't
her,
catch
didn't
on.
you? You poisoned her tea.
I poisoned her tea. He didn't catch on to that, so I had to take it a next level, and then I found some weird voodoo stuff in her belongings with a strange note and sent him a picture of that, which had the Starbucks lady in it. I thought for sure maybe he would Google that one, but no, no. So then, in order to be rid of this strange voodoo curse, I ended up in some kind of religious cult in the middle of nowhere. And in order to come be with him and give him his money, the leader of that cult required him to have a symbolic marriage ceremony with me. Um, I know this sounds batshit, it's part of my language, crazy, but this is where we went with it. So he had to do a few things, and of course the first two he just ended up like photoshopping, and it was horrible photoshops. I mean, it was obviously fake. But the last thing
Yeah.
I asked him to do was to carve my name into a tree, which looking back on and after working with some other 419 scam baiters, I've realized that that probably wasn't a good idea because it did harm the tree. And I apologize for that. However, it was really hilarious to me at the time,
Yeah, but
and it's kind of
he carved his name. You carved your name really deeply into that tree as well, didn't he?
it was like he used a
I
machete.
think he did. Yeah. And Rakist News, like that's exactly what these guys do. They fish for single needy women and literally sell fantasies to them about romance. And then if you watch Corrosive's little seven series of videos about that, he said he was going to have to go to a different town to get some silvers and golds, both plural, and I could never work out why they were both plural. And he needed money to get there, and this is how it all starts. Send me some money to do this, and then I can do that for you. And these scams, they can go on a long time, but they can literally take every penny of a an unsuspecting victim, and
They
that's what.
truly can do a
Yeah,
lot of damage. And on top of that, and one of the worst things about the romance scams for me, and why I mean, I would really like to pursue doing more of them in the future, but it is so time consuming. But it emotionally also damages the people involved in these. They really truly believe that this person is somebody they're going to be with and they fall in love with them. And then when they find out that not only have they taken most of their savings and they've been a sucker, so to speak, they truly do have emotional trauma from it. And there's a lot of groups and stuff for people who can come together when they've been victims of these types of scams. But like that to me is the worst. Like the fact that they don't just steal their money, they also really truly do cause them emotional distress.
Because there are people that are gullible enough, as with any scam, to believe completely in what's going on, and that's always the sad case with people who are getting scammed, however they're getting scammed. Um, there are people that get scammed out of hundreds of dollars just for fake technical support. There are people that get scammed out of every single penny they have, for these romance scams, and maybe they'll even hop on a plane and fly to Africa or something, or fly somewhere to meet these people who are never going to be there in the first place.
And they have no qualms about sending somebody here or there and being like, "Oh, I just didn't show up." Like they tend to seem to have like zero conscience about what they're doing to
Yeah,
these people.
I remember. Was it in one of the um, times in that particular series that the font actually changed, didn't it, or something? Or am I thinking
What's
about
that?
some? Didn't the font change at one point? Was it not like it's like someone else had taken over for a few
Oh,
days?
briefly. Yeah, really briefly. And that's another thing about a lot of the 419 scams and romance scams. They tend to work in groups. Like they usually have kind of like a scammer ring, and there's four or five different guys. So if one of them has to go on vacation or something, they will pass the number or the phone or the scam off to another person. I forget exactly what it was that was so telling, but I was like, it did for a couple of days. It was almost like he had given it to one of his friends to
I'm
take over.
I'm sure that it was like it came to you in like an italic font or something like that. There was something different about it anyway. I'm sure
Yeah.
something
For a
physical
second,
different.
I wanted to address Sean in the chat if I could for a
Yeah, of
moment
course.
because it is something I do feel like pretty strongly about. He asked, "How do you handle the sob stories when they confess and use the third world country card?" I do have a lot of sympathy and compassion for people in parts of the world where poverty is a serious issue, and I mean that is something that can make you feel very sorry for them, but then you think about all the other people in those situations and they choose not to steal. They choose not to lie. They choose not to scam. So when it comes down to it, I mean, sure, there may not be very many other options for them, but there's always another option, and hurting another human for profit is never okay. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, whether that's an African or an Indian or a British or an American, because let's be fair, scammers are all over the world. We don't have to think of scammers
Absolutely.
as being just in one place.
They are
Um,
not.
and it's incredible how organized these people are as well. Um, but knowing about scam baiters, or been knowing about scam baiting and having done scam baiting, we know that some of the call centers in India, for example, is almost some kid's bedroom. And there might
Yeah.
be two people sharing a
Boiler room.
laptop. Yeah, a boiler room. And we've seen pictures of them, haven't we? It's um,
A lot. Yeah. We do actually get to see oftentimes there's people who do amazing work and are able to track down and find the reality behind that phone call. And sometimes it's pretty bleak.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Jim Browning is as an expert at that. We spoke to
Yeah.
him a few weeks ago. He's
I caught that interview. He's an amazing, amazing person, very talented.
yeah. I mean, he's seeing inside the call centers. I mean, that's how far ahead he is. I think there's some good videos about to come out in the early part of next year. Um,
I,
they're going
I
to be
enjoy his
just
work.
so amazing. He's so methodical technically. But yeah, I
He's
enjoy
been
his
at
work.
this for a very long time, that fellow. He's been doing this for I forget what I heard him say, but a long time. So,
Oh, he was doing it a long time before me, and
right.
um, I, I think I can't remember when I first met him online. I think he only had like if it's a few hundred or less than 1,000 subscribers or something like that, and he's like zoomed now.
Definitely earned every one of them. He puts in a lot of work, and I really admire and appreciate that.
Well, he's a bit like you in a way. He might take 3 weeks or 4 weeks to make a video, but it's going to be brilliant. And you're quality rather than quantity, aren't you? I mean, you don't
I
mind waiting.
try.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately the sound isn't going to play, which is a real shame because I wanted to show some of your videos off. Which one shall I put on?
Oh, are you actually asking me? I have no idea.
No, I'm just going to put this one on.
But yeah, I
Oh,
try to take my time.
yeah,
And I, like we said before, I do have a full-time job. YouTube is not a career for me. It is a hobby. Scam baiting comes first. I will make scam bait calls when I'm not making videos, but sometimes I take a step back, which I have. I haven't put anything out in a while, but I do have a bunch of new material that I'm planning on dropping around New Year's.
yeah, that's great. We're looking forward to that. So, I mean, graphically, your stuff is amazing, and this is something
Oh,
that no
thank you.
one's going to believe. And we were talking about this earlier. Am I buffering, by the way? I've got buffering on my local PC for some reason. Excellent connection. I don't see why it should be buffering. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and no one's going to believe that KK does all of her editing on her phone. Everything.
Yes, I do. Everything is done on my mobile phone.
All the
It's
sounds, all the graphics, all the amazing bits of video, all on the phone. That's incredible. I can't
I
understand. So I'm just
it
wondering why I'm buffering, because I'm buffering to myself, which is odd.
got you. I don't know. Chat, are you guys having an issue with buffering?
Now and again.
LP says off and on. Yeah.
Yeah, apologies for that. I don't know what it is, but I suspect it's because I'm trying to play videos and stuff at the same time as. Let's get rid of that.
What can you do?
That's gone. Oh, there you go. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, we could call technical support.
Yeah, let's get tech support involved. They'll know what to do.
Certainly. Need you to start by pressing and holding down the Windows key and the letter R.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's this. I think the video's about 15 seconds behind real time just now, so we can say what we like, and I can stop it before it gets there. Look at the graphics there. That's amazing.
Oh, we appreciate it. Yeah, it's very complicated on the phone. Like I said, there's a lot of apps and this and that. I feel like it does limit me a little bit, which is kind of frustrating sometimes. But it's the most time that I have to work on it is when it's on my mobile. So that's just what I've decided to adapt to. And so far, I've had a lot of fun. I really do like the visual side of things and editing video and working with different imagery and shit. So, it's a good time.
Yeah, you're not
I,
thought
I
about
like it.
you're not thought about upgrading to a tablet or something, but you just like doing it
Um,
on your.
I have a laptop and I played around with a program called Filmora a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
but it's hard once I've adjusted to one thing to move to another. And then also again, I just don't have the time at home like I do on the go or in my free time at work to edit an image here or there or whatever. So it's just I've kind of resolved to be on the phone with it.
I think you're right. I
It
think I
works.
think once you get used to doing it a certain way, it's really hard to swap over to a different system. Skeleton Siski. Yeah, I apologise for Captain Corrosive's mistake.
Hey, Q.
Yeah. What
Yeah, I
happened?
did that.
Yeah. What happened was, unfortunately, KK put on her Twitter feed that it was going to start an hour earlier than it really did. So I put a stream up with a notice on there saying we were starting 30 minutes early, and that was what, about 50 minutes ago or something like that. So no, not 50
Something of that
minutes,
sort.
20 minutes ago.
Much as with everything in life, when I'm involved, things get a little chaotic. I apologize.
Yeah, it was all working fine. We were just chatting away, and then she said, "Are we going to start or what?" And I thought, "Well, we've got an hour to go yet." So what? So anyway, we're here. We're here,
Uh,
and this is the awful time difference, right? And I don't think people realize this. I mean, in America, you're used to having 3 hours from one side of the states to the other.
hmm
I'm in Europe, so there's like 9 hours time difference between me and Captain Corrosive. There's 8 hours difference between Captain Corrosive and the UK. You know, and that makes a difference. Like it's quarter to 11 here, whereas it's only quarter to 2 there, which is significantly different. It's not a
It's like
million.
night and day, literally.
Yeah, KK's just got up, and I'm just about going to bed. You know, and
Oh,
I had someone call me yesterday to say, would you have a chat? It's important. I've got some information for you, which I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And then he wanted me to speak to him at 7 o'clock this morning. So that's because he's um, on the
it's
west
hard.
coast. Yeah, I'll do a plug
Sometimes,
for Skeleton Siski and his amazing Hindi soundboard. I haven't heard it.
absolutely.
I haven't heard it. I must admit. I'm not. I'm not looking at a lot of scam baiting videos just now. I've changed tack a little bit. I'm still looking for scammers, but in a different place. There's a whole subculture in America of First Amendment auditors, and there's some bad people in there. There's some lovely people in there, but as with everything else, there's some people who just want the money and don't care how they get it. So I've been looking at those and exposing some of them. So
I think it's important to branch out like that and to really focus on a different area because I think that'll help people who maybe watch scam bait videos realize there's other, cons and scams out there as well. Maybe they'll start to see some of the red flags, you know. Plus, some of that involved wasn't one of the people, somebody on YouTube who was like taking donations or something under false pretense.
oh yeah, that was Josh Abrams and his girlfriend Danielle.
And I think that actually probably happens a lot on YouTube that people aren't aware of. So that's another thing that's definitely relative to this arena.
Yeah, I mean, this was interesting because of all the stuff I'd done on scam baiting. I recognized the signs, and I said earlier I recognized what Josh was doing before people noticed, and it was interesting to see what he was doing. And his girlfriend, my goodness me, I think she might have been the brains behind it, Danielle. Um, she's a person to deal with anyway. But Josh is having a nice little holiday now. He's got his feet up in a little cell. Um, Danielle's moved on to pastures new, so she's hooked up with another person of
Of
interest.
course. On to the next,
On
right?
to the next, yeah, onwards and upwards, or downwards, or sideways, or whichever way it was. I think
Well,
sideways more than
certainly.
likely.
We'll certainly be keeping an eye on her then.
Well,
Hmm?
yeah, there's a whole new story about her now. It's interesting, but they're not good people, and I think most people now realize how bad a person he actually was. There's a lot of people that had a lot of faith in him. Even if you criticised him at all, he'd have hundreds of people on your
Def
back shouting at you, saying,
hmm
"Just leave our Josh alone. He's good. He's great. He's like,
Defending him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah." And but that's
Gotta
what
have the
happens.
right fights.
I don't know if they, I mean, I don't know if it's a bit like the Stockholm syndrome, where people who've been scammed by somebody seem to put up for them. Um,
Yeah, I think it might be more of just what would you call that? Like a cult of personality sort of situation.
yeah,
They're such a fan and they really come to really relate and identify and feel close to people, especially through these types of, I mean, on YouTube, that's kind of a side effect of things is you do kind of feel like you know that person. So I think when they're so attached or in it, then when something comes out, it just for some people they never want to believe, but for some people I think
Exactly.
it's time and they really have to see the evidence and proof for themselves, which is why it's so important that people come along and point it out and break it down for others so that it makes it easier to digest, you know?
But I think it's also they've got like emotional investment in them, but they've also got financial investment. I mean,
Right.
some people they need to donate a lot of money. I've seen there was one particular case. Josh had been put in jail, and Danielle was out on the streets live streaming, literally begging for some money. She wanted $800 for some bail. This was totally fictitious bail. It didn't exist. She just
Mhm.
wanted $800 for something. Um, but the money was rolling in, and she wouldn't say how much had been donated, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. And people got really, really suspicious in the end. And but even on a live stream, when people click on the donate button and donate through Super Chat or PayPal or something like that, you see how much they got. And
Yeah.
they only
It's
had to be on for a little while, and it's like, oh my goodness,
Mhm.
they've made more on one day than I've made in 2 years.
Absolutely. I have seen this actually in a few different areas, a few different communities in YouTube, and it's actually more common, I think, than people realize that a lot of fictitious campaigns are brought up, or people being like, oh, my rent's coming due, and I hate to do this, but you're all my fans and I love you, and I could really use the money, and half the time they don't. And then even just on a live stream with donations and doing things like that, it adds up very quickly. You see the $2, the $3, but when you add it all up at the end, they're actually taking in quite a bit of money.
Well, there's a guy going around just now. I won't say who he is. He keeps putting little videos on saying, "My girlfriend and I are in the car. We need gas money. We need this to keep going. We need to keep on the road. Can you donate even $1 or something like that to do?" And that video will stay on for an hour, and then he'll take it down, and it'll be
Hmm.
gone. And you can't you can't follow what happened. You can't see what's happened because they're
Right.
looking for donations through the PayPal system, which doesn't show up on the live donations. And you've got no
Mhm.
idea. Hi,
It's on purpose, isn't it?
of
I mean,
course,
to cover their tracks and to kind of cause a disconnect so people can't really see how much they're making or what's going on.
exactly. Hi, Desert Sentinel is dead. Crypt Keeper, just
Yes,
saying,
good
yeah.
script.
Yeah, but people get sick of these people now. There's a lot of people starting to complain about it, and they're realizing that it's just a money machine for some people.
Yeah, I would definitely, I mean, encourage people if you're going to donate money to somebody to really think about who they are, what the money is going to be used for, especially if you can't afford it yourself, don't be throwing out money to people who may be just using it for less than
Recreation.
honorable,
Yeah,
yes, recreationally, less than honorable purposes, if you will.
yeah. Because that's definitely what some people have been doing.
Well, and it's
I,
so sad because you can do it honestly, be entertaining. Clearly, these people have something that draws people to them. They have an audience large enough to profit from.
yeah.
So, I mean, give something to your audience, create something, be something. But instead, they're using it to try to manipulate and get more than,
Well, Desert Sentinel's just made a point here, and I think he's probably not far off the mark. Patrick knows if he asks for $100, he'll receive 1,000, and
yeah,
and and it's probably not untrue that um, because people don't know what's being sent in. If he says, "Oh, I need $50 for gas," it could just be one person that thinks, "Oh, I'll give him $50. It's not that much."
right.
Um,
But then five people do that, and
so how can I prove these people are begging on preying on people's feelings and empathy? How can I prove that? I mean, if you've solid evidence like audio bites, well, yeah. I mean, there's already a few videos I've put out myself that cover this, Sean. There'll be another one fairly soon as well. So the evidence is there. You don't have to be you don't have to be searching that hard for it.
No, and one little thing on its own may not stand out, but when you do as you've done and put it all together and kind of display it in a way that it all adds up and you can see pretty clearly what's going on.
You're absolutely right. Oh, what's this? I am putting public records out on my channel for all to see. Oh, yeah, do that, but Flathead Corruption Watch, I'll show that because I think it's okay. I've seen some of the public records on your channel. Could I give you one piece of advice when you're doing the change from one page to another? Keep it the same, because when I was scrolling through your records of someone the other day, I kept missing the page changes because your transitions were different for each page. So here's the problem, Sean. If I go to PayPal and tell them people have been donating and it's wrong, all they're going to say is, well, those people didn't have to donate.
Right.
I mean, people donate as a conscious act. They're not being forced into doing it. It's not like I mean, they're being scammed
We,
because,
I was gonna say we get that with the scams a bit too, don't we? When people are like, well, they're throwing their money away. Same
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah, of course.
Like if you call the police, there's very little they can do because a person is fully chosen to give their money, whether it was under false pretense or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming up for 10 o'clock, the actual start time now, so that's why.
Oh, okay. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Nightmare's stream. We're just getting
Welcome
started. There.
to interview with Kpt Kerosive that's been going on for the last 40 minutes. Yeah, I apologise to everybody who's just coming in. I'll tell you what happened, and I'm happy to tell you because it's not my fault. Um, Corrosive put on her Twitter feed and her channel that we were starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon
I did.
for her time, but actually we'd planned to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which would have been the time that everybody was expecting it to start. But we started halfway just as a compromise. But we can carry on talking for ages. Both of us can talk forever, so don't
Oh,
worry.
absolutely.
You're not going to miss anything.
I was gonna say, usually I'm late to everything. For once, I'm early, and
You were excited, weren't you? You said.
I was, and I'm glad kind of we started so early and had the chance before that even because it's just been so long, and I could talk to you for hours and hours. So this is
We
good.
probably talked about most of what we're going to talk about now before the stream actually started, to be honest.
It's true. We're just backtracking and recovering it.
I wish I had something more than juice in front of me. So I could be quite relaxed. So yeah, she was up early by accident. She she was up an hour earlier than she needed to be.
Oh,
Oh
it's
dear.
worth it though. I was very excited. I'm so glad, like I said, we're getting a chance to chat.
Yeah, it's great because I mean we used to chat quite a lot, and it's been a while, and for the
Oh, we
people
had,
that's just joined, it's been about we reckon about a year and a half since
yeah.
we bumped into each other properly.
And it was about 2 years, 2.5, I think, when we were all doing all the group scam calls. We had a lot of fun
With Malcolm and that, yeah.
with Malcolm and Deeves and Joe and Slammer and George. We had a blast. It was a lot of
Well,
fun.
yeah,
I remember that time very fondly.
there was DVR's 24/7 live stream, which we talked
You
about
know,
when DVR was on the other week. So
it was before that, even though that we were all just doing the
yeah,
group calls,
well
and
that's
then
right.
Malcolm stayed once in a while,
It was
and it
Malcolm's
was it was a
channel,
lot
yeah,
of fun.
yeah. Malcolm said he'd come on.
Absolutely, you should. Uncle Malcolm. He died in 2 world wars.
Yeah, that was I said that. That was my saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember saying that.
it
Yeah.
cracked me up.
I
Yep.
used to love those. Those were really good fun because we're all together doing those things, weren't we? And
We were very off the cuff, and when some of the stuff that would happen, and the scammers, I think, just didn't stand a chance. It was great.
I know. And Malcolm's
I
robot voice. I don't know if he still uses. I'm sure he does.
He does. He does. Yes. What do you mean? That's his real voice,
I
of
think I was
course.
going to say. I think that's his real voice. I don't think he's got Aria Philnet. Hi, nice to see you again.
Hey,
Denise,
Aria.
Karen, Roxanne, little piece. Hi, little piece. So yeah, just
LP
keeping an eye.
gangsta.
Yeah, I keep bumping into these people all over the place. Aria Philnet and
That's another thing I love about the scam bait community is it is very kind of close knit and everybody is really supportive of each other. Somebody had mentioned some drama and stuff earlier, and like it really is not that much compared
yeah,
to other communities. Like scam baiters do tend to have a common enemy, which is the scammers.
yep.
So, we do tend to support each other, and I just absolutely adore almost everybody. So, thanks guys for coming, and I love you.
Uh,
Smoochies.
it's nice. Yeah,
All right, enough of that crap.
yeah.
Anyway, back to the
But
scammers.
I bump into Aria Philnet and people like that on some of the police cop watching channels like Chuck Bronson and that. They get around some of these people, they're not just one trick ponies.
For sure.
Oh,
Outside interest.
thank you, Flathead Corruption Watch. I shall look for those. Thank you so much. That might be some more videos in the line for that. Yeah, Chuck Bronson said he might come on as well one night, so that should be an interesting one. He's
Well, there's a question for
he
you
get
too. I mean, oh, go ahead.
no, carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, going off in this different kind of turn that you have with your content, do you plan on kind of branching out more and even looking into other areas or things?
I'm more interested in investigating now and looking back through, like public records and court records and things like that, finding out details and stuff that's sort of newsworthy. I'm trying to get, as a story I'm working on right now, which is will be news and people don't know about it yet, and I'm struggling to get information, but I'm getting it slowly. But being where I am, it's not so easy to walk into a courthouse and say, "Give me the details of this guy," So I'm having to rely on help from a few people, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So that should be a good one when it actually comes out. Um, oh
You're enjoying the puzzle pieces a bit, right?
yeah, I
Kind of
like
fun to do the research and
yeah, I like putting things together. I like adding a few pieces together and making a story and then checking it and double checking it and go for like peer review almost. I get someone else to check it and talk to them about it, and then I'm happy that it's okay, and then I stick it out. And then people rip it to shreds sometimes, but sometimes they rip it to shreds for the wrong person because of the person I've written it about, not what I've written, even in one case. So, um,
Mm.
it's okay. So, what about you? What are you working on just now? You said you've got a few things coming in the new year, yeah?
I do, I do. Like I said, I've kind of just been taking this time to think and decide what I want to do because it does get, like we were talking about earlier, the same old routine does get very repetitive when you're doing scam baiting because a lot of the times you're calling the same scammers, the same call centers, you're getting the same scripts over and over and over. And it can really burn you out or become a little redundant. So I have branched out a little bit. I have been working with, so to speak, or involved with a group of people who are more into the 419 scams and things of that nature. So I've been kind of dabbling in that a little bit when I have the time, though those are more time consuming.
Gonna tell
Um,
us what 419 scams are?
uh,
Because
it's
because
complicated.
there are people here who don't know much about scamming. There's some of the so
True. Okay.
uh,
I'll do a quick
we
breakdown. 419 is the area code for Nigeria, so it tends to be where that originated from, but it kind of covers all of Africa, particularly West Africa seems to be where most of the scams come from. And those are the princes that smell you or the inheritance scams. Mainly they operate through email. though they have advanced now and they do use texts and things like that. And they will sometimes even do some kind of cold calling, but usually it's through the emails. The lottery scams, you've won a great prize, but you must contact us immediately and send us fees, et cetera, et cetera.
And the
Also, I
fees
tend to,
and the fees get
yeah.
ever increasingly higher, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Oh, we
They'll
need
keep
a
collecting
customs
fees.
fee, we need a police fee, we need a yeah.
As long as you keep paying them, they'll keep coming up with fees. It's kind of really, you got to hand it to them. They're pretty creative with all these fees they come up with. But generally speaking, it just kind of covers that style of scam. The romance scams also kind of fall into that, I guess, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
Either way, it's things other than just the tech support and stuff. Though, of course, I have been calling them as well, and I have some fun tech videos coming up. And then I also wanted to do kind of like an informational sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I actually have some short, very short video series. I think I've got about 9 in all that I'm just going to drop from time to time that explain different types of scams. Just brief, information about what the scam is, and also put some resource links because
That's
a
a good
lot of
idea.
people, I'm sure you get this too, like you'll get comments on your videos where people have been scammed or they have somebody that they love who's being scammed and they're like, "Oh, I need help, can you do something?" And a lot of the times you don't really have time to get involved, but there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of groups and things like that. So I just kind of looked for that information for the particular types of scams,
Yeah.
included that links in the bios. So hopefully anybody who comes that's looking for some explanations or help can find it. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on.
Yeah, that's really good to do little things like that. I did a series of little videos on how to set up a scam baiting system, like how to set up the phones and how to
Hmm.
set up a virtual machine and that sort of thing. And I think one of those was my highest ever viewed video. I was quite
I bet
surprised.
it was. Yeah, I know
Um,
the information is really good to get out there because a lot of people have these questions and there's really not a go-to guide for any of this.
yeah. Who's talking about a rift here? Who's Sean Taylor and Arian? Oh, drama. Drama, drama, drama. There's always drama.
Drama. There's so
Drama.
much drama and all the rumors are all true and it's all because of me. I did it.
Oh, Aria. Aria Filnet had
I
a
don't
close
know. I
friend
have no
who
idea.
Aria Filnet had a close friend who fell for a romance scam, 13K.
Oof, that's a chunk of change.
As is, that's what they're like. That's what they're like. They'll go for everything. They'll suck you dry in the worst possible way.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm thinking I've got a few more investigation videos going on just now where I'm looking at someone in particular. I've got these little Wednesday night things that I'm doing. These not too bad. They're quite popular. People seem to like them. Once a lot of people watch them later. To be fair, because of the timing. And I've explained the timing. It's all really hugely due to time differences and things like that. If I decided I'd like to stay up till like 4 o'clock in the morning, I think everybody'd be happy. But I'd be waking up the rest of the house, and
Yeah,
don't think my house would be happy.
you can't do that. When it comes to this stuff, you have to do what's comfortable and what suits your schedule. And then the good thing is that, like you said, people can go back and watch them at any time.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
So,
somebody's quite interested. They said they like to read the chat comments. And when I streamed it using Streamlabs on its own last time, the chat comments didn't get saved. Although the video did, the chat comments didn't. So that's why I'm
interesting.
doing it a different way with YouTube Live Studio or whatever it's called this time. I really need someone to help me set up this system properly because I really don't know what I'm doing. I have fiddled around with this for hours this afternoon trying to get it working properly again. So someone needs to spend a bit of time with me on
I agree, but that someone is not me because I
oh,
am
I know.
absolutely clueless. I was gonna say I'm totally impressed by how much you've already figured out and learned since you've been back and doing things. It's impressive because this stuff is frustrating.
I didn't do much live streaming before.
You didn't.
I joined in with other people's, on the phone or something.
Mhm.
Sean, you can help me. Well, that'd be great sometime. we'll organise that. Can
Yeah,
you
I mean, when
drop?
we did our group dates and stuff, it was always usually DVR or Joe or Malcolm that were really the
That's right.
techies.
They used to set up the system, and we used to just phone in on it, didn't we? On
Uh-huh. I liked it that way.
yeah. I quite like OBS, Aria. It's have you got the new one, the Streamlabs OBS, or just the old OBS? Oh, see, there's a trick to that Desert Sentinel about putting your trousers on. You know the zip goes at the front.
One leg at a time.
Yeah, one leg at a time, and as tip, put your socks on first because it's easier to put your socks on without your trousers on.
See, this is solid advice.
Solid
With
advice.
right
Yeah,
there.
life hacks. Life hacks. I was watching this guy called the Russian Hacker. I don't know if anybody's ever seen him on YouTube. He went a bit rubbish for a bit, but he did things. It's like telling you 10 things that you've done wrong all your life. I thought I've got to look at this, and one of them was folding t-shirts, and I never thought about this, but he folded t-shirts in such a way that he sort of rolled them into a cylinder and then put them in your drawer, and then you could see all your t-shirts because they were just stacked up in a neat horizontal row. And
That's funny. I actually do that.
yeah, I never
I
did
never
that.
needed a hack. You
I
didn't? No.
I used to lay them on top of each other.
Well, I caught on to that one for packing to travel because when you put stuff in your suitcase, for some reason, when you roll them up, it all fits better. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, see, that's it. You see, that's your feminine side. That's I think.
I suppose so. We do have our innate talents.
Yeah, and all this sort of inbuilt skills. I think it's pre-programmed. I think that's what it is.
It's probably why I'm absolutely horrible with computers as well. So, but
You
I can fold laundry. I got
can
you.
fold laundry, and you can create masterpieces on your phone.
Oh, you're too kind. Oh, goodness.
So, is there anybody on chat that hasn't seen any of Captain Corrosive's videos yet?
I don't know. I feel like it's all the old familiar faces here today, which is
Yeah,
lovely.
but there's a lot of familiar faces to me as well. So, and these are relatively new familiar faces, I think. So, I think that's good. Yeah, seems to be some sort of crossover between subscribers here. So, oh, well, we've been on a bit. So, what do you want to talk about now? Your, how do you fancy me, you, DVR, and what's the let's see if we can get Malcolm, maybe
Slammer Joe,
yeah,
the
yeah,
old crew. Should we get
the
the old
old
crew back
crew.
together?
We should have a reunion
Uh,
scam bait, I think.
I know I've talked to DVR about it a few times. He seemed interested in doing something similar. I think the main challenge would just to be to find a day that we all have the time and can meet up at a time, because we all have so much going on individually. It's hard to find that time to do it, but I would absolutely make the time and love to do that.
I would as well, actually. I think it would be good for a reunion. Um,
Just for nostalgia, I'm just sure we would have a blast.
yeah, yeah. Denise wins asking, "Where's Joe Auger?" Joa, I think it is, isn't it? Joa Auger. Um, I think I think he's squealing somewhere. Anyway, this this guy, you probably won't have
Oh
seen
no.
this. Cap-
No, what is it? Do tell.
him and a couple of others. In fact, it was Josh Abrams and Danielle went into a police station, and they caused a heck of a fuss. And this was literally just to, um, it was literally just to make a video. This all the fuss was for. But they decided to arrest Joe Auger, and they were outside. Uh, Sean, follow me on Twitter. Yeah, okay, we can do that. That's no problem. Um, he um, he started squealing when they put the cuffs on him, and it was literally the
Oh
noise of a
no.
pig. It was
Oh
I don't
no.
think anybody's seen him since. Oh, there was a time on he went on to Bristol's live stream on Sunday night, Bristol Turtle Chicks, and she does like a sort of newsy story on Sunday nights. She was my guest last week, and he was absolutely livid at her. He was threatening um, legal action, and his lawyers were going to be coming down on her like nobody's business. Never happened, of course, because just bluster. But I don't know
Just
where he
full of
is
it.
now. I really don't know where he is now. I haven't heard anything from him for a while. Joe at
Hmm.
Heart, okay,
Quite the
breaking the
character,
floor.
it sounds like.
Yeah, and this is the bit of the what you call it, First Amendment auditors who are really only there to make money. They don't care about anything else. They don't really care. Um, oh, you sent me some more stuff. Thank you, Flathead Corruption Watch. You're doing a good job for me there. I just got to say something. Um, Up in the chat, I just noticed Little Piece had a mention for George. Um,
Yeah. We don't want to
we
get too
talked
into
about,
that, I feel, because it is so sad and I miss him so much. But
yeah,
yes, George was amazing. And if anybody here hasn't seen his videos, I believe his YouTube channel is still up as well. So I go back and watch them from time to time. The Cassidy Kid, oh my goodness.
yeah. Just hear his voice sometimes. He was a
Yeah.
good friend.
He was a
Um,
good person and an amazing scam baiter as well. He would keep them on the line for so long,
I know, and he had so
hours.
many techniques that he could delay them.
Truly. I mean,
Yeah,
he was brilliant with the technical side of things too, really. So,
yeah.
I mean, very impressive all around.
I liked him. Yeah, it was such a shame. Well, never mind. We won't
Yeah,
start.
I don't want to get sad right
We don't.
now,
We won't
but
start crying again. We were crying. We were both crying the other day because
I
I,
know, my
I,
goodness.
we started talking about him, and then all of a sudden, oh my
That would
god!
be a horrible way to end the stream. We'll just
I know.
start
We won't
crying.
start crying. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, listen. The stream Bashful Scam Beta. The stream started early. I did as much as I could to advertise it. I'm sorry about that, but Kpt Kerosive got a clock mixed up. So it'll be on again. You can have a look. It'll be on. I'll put it up as a normal video. You can
Like
have
I
a look
said,
at it later.
I have this effect on things. I show up and everything's just a little bit chaotic.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we did compromise, didn't we? We did say we'd do it halfway between when it should be and when it was. So like half an hour early, but that's not too bad.
Well, I'm so glad we did. It's been so much fun. I like that we had ample enough time to cover at least the tip of the iceberg since we've talked last.
Yeah, and this isn't going to be the last time we have a chat, and I'm telling you that.
Absolutely not.
Don't be a
I am so
stranger.
happy to have. I will not. I'm happy to have you back.
Do you know what? That's what my friend used to say to me. Don't be a stranger, just be stranger.
That's cute. I like that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
remember that one.
So I think that's a good time to end it. We've had a little almost trickle of moisture out of my eye about George again. So
Fine.
thank everybody for watching. Thank you,
Thank
Kpt
you.
Kerosive, for such a great chat.
My
Um,
pleasure. This felt very much, like I said, homey, especially with all the familiar faces in the chat. Thanks, guys, for popping by, and I love you all.
yeah, that's what I said. I'd hoped it was going to be just a comfortable chat, in your jammers with your feet up in front of the fire or whatever.
You know it. I got my coffee right here. It's been
Yeah,
nice and slow.
and you got your cat on your lap probably.
I do. Indeed.
Yeah. So, guys, it's been great again. Um, I don't know how long the chat will stay open. I don't know how long it takes to die off on here, but it'll die off fairly soon. So, wish you all good evening. And for anybody who missed the start, don't blame me, blame Corrosive. And And we'll see you next week. I can't tell you just now who's on next week. I know who it's going to be, but it's going to be a good one. Not that this one hasn't been a good one, but it'll be someone a little bit more controversial. So, guys, it's been great. I'll announce next week's guest as soon as I possibly can. Yeah, I can show that one. Mark Nye, I don't care. Um, I don't try and edit anything on my chat. I do believe in free speech unless it gets rude. So, yeah, it's been great, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those who are watching it on replay, where were you? Uh, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Cheers now.
Bye.
Bye.